Hello, Tim's Tips here. I'm going to talk to you about poop. So as you know from my previous videos, I like to look at the requirements. It's kind of boring, but I wanted to really look at what does a flush toilet need in an RV. And I know I'll be using this many times, day and night, and very necessary for older folks like myself and my wife. And I wanted it to serve a double purpose, and that is to use as a gray water receptacle for pouring water from the basins. We don't have a sink. We do not have a sink in the RV van, and wanted to use it as a receptacle for that gray water as well, and go into one tank. So here's all the requirements. Easy to use, low maintenance, 2 weeks of boondocking, have enough tank capacity, and we have about 38 gallons of gray and black water capacity. Have it be self-contained, low smell, easy to dump at a dump station, cheap, and vitreous enamel. So no cheap plastic. I want it to be almost like a home toilet. So I'll show you how I did it in the upcoming video. I'll also show you the resources. For example, Dometic had many toilets to choose from, and I'll show you that toilet. Plastic tanks. So the Sprinter has cavities underneath for the tanks. I used 80/20 aluminum construction, as I showed you in my previous videos. The toilet flange, ABS pipe, and valves and the glue needed to seal it. Uniseal also has an interesting story behind it, and I'll show you that. So I've always liked the elongated bowl of the China toilets. It feels just like a home toilet, very high quality, vitreous enamel, kind of resists skid marks, if you know what I mean. A little heavy, 37 pounds, but I think well worth it in the long run. The toilet flange here is a Dometic floor flange. Just tied it right into my aluminum floor with screws. I use Rivnuts to attach it. And then the tanks, I got, this is from Vintage Trailer Supply. It did take them a long time to ship this tank, up to 5 weeks. And also it was kind of mangled. The way it was manufactured was kind of cockeyed, but I was just barely, I was able to fit it in the van, just barely tolerable. This was in better shape, the Jayco, with tank level sensors as well. This is the Uniseal. It enabled me to drill holes with just a hole saw into the tanks and join them with a piece of pipe and a T, made a T fitting, and it just resolved all the imperfections in the plastic, which there were many, like a little bit wavy plastic, and it was rubber. Here is the cavity in the Sprinter van. I had to do a lot of calculating to make sure that the tank and the toilet would all fit in there, because it's kind of cluttered here with braces and support structure. So I want to make sure the toilet flange would be able to dump into one tank and then connect 2 tanks together. Here is a Rivnut, number 2 on it, Rivnut that I put in with anti-corrosion compound on it, and then I show here using blind just pop rivets to do the top, since they were kind of hard to pull with Rivnuts, but pop rivets would do the job. And here's a finished product on that. Then I started making frame pieces out of 80/20, and those little upright brackets keep the tank from moving around, basically, so they're from front to back. And then the tank was mounted on the frame, clamped in place temporarily. And then I started calculating, where do I need the holes for the toilet flange? And so I did many measurements there, and then finally use a big 4-inch hole saw to cut that flange, install it, and then put the toilet down on top of it. And then start looking at gluing in the pipes, actually doing plumbing. So here's ABS cement. It's specifically needed for ABS, which is less pervious to temperatures. Not impervious, but less sensitive to temperatures. And so that was all glued together with a flange, with a dump valve, just a standard RV dump valve. Then the system was filled with water, and it was tried. Tried with water to check for leaks, and then dump it on the ground. It's totally clean at this point, obviously. I did not use the tank sensors there because of their typical inaccuracy and failures. And then I looked at a hose. The RV hose is the highest quality one you could buy. It's smooth inside, so it tends not to trap as much waste as other tubes, and it's collapsible. So in this small space is like a 20-foot hose. Then I just cut a piece of drain pipe and strapped it up underneath, and then I stuffed the drain hose in that tube, tie it with a bungee. So this is the kind of the finished product here. Actually road tested it there, no problems with that. One tip I do have is when I've got some waste in there, poops and everything, I flush it out with water. One thing I've learned is to flush it out real good with water. Try to get all that poop and out of there. You can see it's getting pretty clean at this point, and then re-dump into the RV dump station. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about is venting. I had to have a main vent that goes to the top of the roof, and also had to cut holes in both tanks to do venting because I noticed that it was locking up. Actually, I had a vacuum in it. If I didn't have two vents going to the, from the tanks up to the top of the roof. So with that, I thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I welcome questions and comments. Thanks.